I'm going to share a PPT where I've put situations, and you can tell us, you can make out what is the offense. A mixed methyl alcohol. So you're ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Your books are ready with you? You need to consult them. Open your document, whatever you need to open up, basically the legislation or the case law, and then see whether you can give an answer. A mixed methyl alcohol in arak to the extent that it became dangerous for consumption for human beings. The said mixture was sold as liquor by A. After drinking this liquor, X died and Y and Z became permanently blind. So the question, I kind of just was working on it. I said, what offense, if any, has been committed by A? But let's just focus on the death of X, whether A can be held liable for either culpable homicide or murder for the death of X caused by A's action.
Ma'am, A knowingly mixed that much amount that it became dangerous for consumption.
Culpable homicide.
We do not know that, but we know he makes this
Culpable homicide.
culpable homicide.
Yes.
Why?
Ma'am, intention is missing.
How do you find out intention?
He had knowledge that he's likely by such act to cause death because he
So,
mixed something
sitting
dangerous.
299, which clause of 299 attracted?
It's third, I think. Last one.
Yeah, that's right, because it says it as an act. What are the words? An act that he knows or like is likely to cause it. What is the language?
With the knowledge that he
With
is
the
likely
knowledge that he's
to
likely to cause death.
do that.
So he has the knowledge that it is dangerous and it's likely to cause death. Can we say that the knowledge in this case was such that it has to be imputed to him? Is there a possibility of arguing against culpable homicide? Why it will not be murder under fourthly?
Ma'am, it talks about death for sure, eminently dangerous act which causes death. But
No,
here,
no. It says imminently dangerous act as is likely to cause death. Fourthly, padho. Committing an act knows that it is so imminently dangerous that it must, in all probability, cause death or such bodily injury as is likely to cause death,
yes,
and
ma'am.
commit such act without any excuse for incurring the risk of causing death or such injury as aforesaid. So why is it not murder under fourthly?
It is not that
In
imminently dangerous.
And so one, it is not imminently dangerous.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, so if it is not imminently dangerous, that it must in all probability cause death or such. So when the act inherently is not imminently dangerous, your fourthly is out. Then you come to thirdly. Third part of 299. With the knowledge that it is likely by such act to cause death. So can we say that he had this knowledge, or this knowledge has to be implied on him that it is dangerous, it is such as is likely to, he is likely by such act to cause death. Can we impute that knowledge?
Yes, ma'am, we can say that. because methyl alcohol is dangerous, is fatal to human life. So he should have the knowledge before mixing it.
Any amount? Or whether some questions can be raised about the quantity of alcohol that can be imputed that he knew that how much, what percentage of methyl alcohol will become dangerous. We impute that knowledge to him. Or can a benefit of doubt be given to A that maybe he did not know. He knew he's mixing up this, but whether this amount will be dangerous to his human consumption or not, can we impute that knowledge? Can, as a defense counsel, we can argue that he did not know this much quantity is dangerous for human consumption?
Now, I think subjective approach can be taken in this case. That the person knew that that would kill the other person. He was just wanted some other consequence. So that can be a nice argument. In such a-
This actually there was another case we used to give you earlier when we were teaching hurt and grievous hurt as part of the course. So the judges in this case convicted him for grievous hurt because there was this permanent blindness and we were we all are very unhappy that how could they do that? No, this is a culpable homicide case. But the judges said grievous hurt because that knowledge could not be imputed. But then they tried to, no, they did justice in the case. In grievous hurt also, the maximum punishment can be life imprisonment. So we do know that for culpable homicide also life imprisonment is the maximum. So even though they did not convict him for culpable homicide, convicted him for grievous hurt, but then gave the life imprisonment. You can find that different ways judges try to do justice. But for us, for our argument purpose, certainly there is a possibility of arguing that he did not have the knowledge that this much of quantity is dangerous for human consumption. Okay. Read the facts. I think I know the question is not right. What offense? We will again ask whether A can be held liable for either culpable homicide or murder.
I'm culpable homicide.
Culpable homicide under which clause?
B.
B. Yeah, the clause is right. The judges
B.
in this case, we all thought that this was a case of culpable homicide, middle part, but the judges again in this one also did not impose the liability of culpable homicide by reference to his acts, A's act afterwards. So once the brother became unconscious, he immediately rushed into the hospital, tried to revive him. And there were the judges say that intention was not to cause such bodily injury as is likely to cause death. Again, this is coming from the time when we did not have this clarity that it is not his knowledge but objective category. So,
Can a reference of Kapoor Singh versus State of Pepsu can be given here?
no, Kapoor Singh is slightly different because he had planned that. This is unplanned. This is a sudden fight.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay.
also actually it will not come into murder because the exception of sudden fight will also apply. But whether the whole question of going to the exception whatever is only if it is culpable homicide. So, but your identification of the clause is right, that the case has to be considered under middle part of 299 because it is not into the category of where the nature of the act is so imminent, the injuries caused are sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death.
Okay.
Can private defense exception can be taken in this case? Since
इसमें कैसे
B,
प्राइवेट डिफेंस आएगा?
ma'am, in this case, since B was enraged that his brother was plowing the field and went and attacked him, and A acted in retaliation.
नहीं, मगर इसमें उसको थोड़ी इंजरी हुई है, इंजरी तो भाई को हुई है,
It's
तो
written
बी
his
की हुई है ना.
ma'am, it's written his elder brother B, who was not happy with the arrangement,
हाँ,
came
तो
to the
डेथ
field.
तो बी तो झगड़ा करने आया ना.
Yes, ma'am, but A killed B.
हाँ, तो whether he is entitled to kill B in these circumstances, और कैटेगरीज है ना सेक्शन में, डेथ विल बी द कॉन्सिक्वेंस, वो तो सब लिखा नहीं है ना कहीं पे भी इसमें, बस एक फाइट एंस्यूड बिटवीन देम, whether he has used excessive force, वो सारा इशू आ जाएगा ना, और वो सारा तब आएगा when it's a private defense, so he acted in private defense, but whether he was justified in using such force as they has killed the brother, वो तो नहीं लागू होगा ना इसमें. वो रिब्स तोड़ डाली, स्प्लीन रप्चर हो गई, बहुत फोर्सफुली उसने उसको मारा है. He was driving a car when he stopped at the red light. The car behind bumped into his car, causing a dent in it. A became angry at seeing it, and a quarrel followed between A and B, the driver of the other car. Getting more angry, A gave a blow to B and knocked his tooth off. आपने पढ़ा नहीं है तो इसको छोड़ सकते हैं.
Ma'am, grievous hurt.
But
Previous
ma'am,
hurt.
grievous hurt, ma'am.
Previous
हाँ,
hurt,
previous hurt है, previous hurt है इसमें. But whether it was A and B driver getting more angry, A gave a blow to B and knocked his tooth out. Is it an action in private defense?
No, ma'am.
So grievous hurt. Then it goes further. If in this case the fight continued and B, when his tooth was knocked out, took out the hockey in his car and gave him a blow on the head. A took out the cricket bat from his cart and gave blows to B, resulting in the fracture of skull and death of B.
Certainly it falls under the proximity of private defense since he acted in retaliation, and the force was equivalent more or less because he hit him with the hockey stick in the head, and he did the same with the cricket bat. So the force was almost the same in the process. If he killed the person, then there is no liability according to me in this case.
Yes, ma'am, it may
Okay.
be culpable homicide in this case.
The charge in this case is murder. You have to get a conviction for him for murder. Some of you should try to get him acquitted of that one and get a lesser conviction.
Ma'am, culpable homicide, may I?
What is the argument for culpable homicide?
Ma'am, because if that B would not have take out his that hockey stick, then A would not have.
Listen. Culpable homicide में क्या requirements हैं? The first one तो है ही नहीं ना. There's
Ma'am,
no intention
intention.
to kill. So kill wasn't there.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
with intention of causing bodily injuries as is likely to cause death. So whether he has that intention?
No, ma'am, it was not his intention, like from the very beginning, but it happened after when B took out his hockey stick. So this intention was also in doubt.
Ma'am, I think this
Or
case,
bodily injury.
ma'am, I think this case is
No,
murder.
exception for
Exception 4 is what?
no, exception for is sudden quarrel or heat of passion, fight in heat of passion. So they
So
were
for that
fighting, and
exception to
in heat of
apply,
passion,
for that exception to apply, first of all, we'll have to say that he has, his case falls under third part of 300. Only then the exception, because first part is not applicable. There's no intention to kill. Intentionally giving bodily injuries was there, but these intentional bodily injuries have been given as a consequence of the sudden fight. But
Excuse me,
that,
ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am, there are some boys from other sections. They are messaging over WhatsApp that please let them in this group. They are having some issues. You need to like allow them to join.
yeah, but I'm not finding any requests. Admit. एक ही का है कोई तो और
Ma'am,
किसकी तो रिक्वेस्ट है नहीं?
two links were shared today, and one is like a counterfeit link. I have joined that a few minutes ago, but that was another link. I think
Yeah,
maybe
same issues with me.
Yes, ma'am, same.
काउंटरफीट हो गया लिंक भी अम्म, जाएं वापस अपने प्रॉब्लम पे यहाँ तो और भी मुझे नहीं दिख रहा है
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am,
so
can this case be held under murder? Because as I see it, A initiated it with knocking the teeth off of B, at which B retaliated in private defense, his hockey stick and whatever, and A killed him in response, which could not be taken under the defense of private defense because that man was acting under the private defense. So he killed him. So I think this should
yeah
fall
but this whole thing started with the step by step. First he got angry and then a quarrel followed. The quarrel then became a fight because when the physical blow was given, A gave a blow to B and knocked off his tooth. Then a physical fight is followed. And then this fight continued. Then B took out a hockey and he took out a cricket bat. And then they're still fighting. And then in that fighting, A has now fractured the skull of B and as a consequence has died. So now he has given a blow on his head in this fight. So giving the blow on his head is not accidental, it is intentional. But is it because in case of private, so private defense is not attracted here because this was not a case of A was not acting in private defense. B could have been said to be acting in private defense. But it is A who has killed B. And in this case, in case of sudden fight exception, we do not look at the question as to who started the fight. But it has to be sudden, without pre-planning. And this certainly, there's no pre-planning, it was accident which happened. But it has led to heating and conversation between the two of them, leading to fight, and then death has ensued. So therefore, the fact that A was the aggressor in the first place, so it is a case where A is now, he was angry, so one can say sudden provocation. But then whether if your card has been dented, is it sufficient provocation for you to go to the extent of killing? So that will not be possible to justify that action. So then, in another case, the further facts are indicating that there was a sudden fight as a consequence of a sudden quarrel. So upon sudden quarrel, sudden fight happened, and then who gave the first blow doesn't become the relevant part. Because here the first blow was also given by A. and then he has given also the fatal blow. Therefore, in the normal course, it will go into the thirdly of 300, but because it is attracting, because 300 thirdly is subject to the exceptions. So the exception 4 is then attractive, and therefore liability will be culpable homicide.
Ma'am, can we say that in exception he has taken undue advantage because he has injured or
We
in his
can't
head,
say
so
that.
that's
We
why.
can't. It will be unlikely because both of them had similar kind of weapons. One had a cricket bat, one had the hockey. So therefore, it was was unarmed. He was running away. Then it would not have been attracting the exception. But he has not acted in a unusual or cruel manner. But no, in Delhi, you've been hearing about road rage. People get their new cars crashed, and these kind of things were happening. It can still happen. So, okay, look at this one. A found his girlfriend G in a compromising position with his best friend N. He got angry and killed N.
Ma'am, culpable homicide.
Ma'am, exception 1 of murder.
You're
Grave and
saying
sudden
grave and
provocation.
sudden provocation.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
And strangely enough, judges have not recognized this as a category where seeing your girlfriend in compromising position, you can get angry to be justified and killed. They say that there has to be a relationship, legal relationship. There is no legal relationship with this girlfriend. It's an emotional relationship. And the best course of action for you is to just move away with this girlfriend rather than killing him. So people, the law still wants you to apply your mind, which is for me is double standards. Because whenever it's a girlfriend, you may have a scenario where it's a woman you have engaged with. Judges said till the time of marriage, you cannot get angry at her behavior. You can break that equation. Because marriages are seen sacrosanct and all. I mean, for me, that's still not justifiable, but that's how the law has been. So they have not granted it to when the woman was not legally related to you. It's a girlfriend, it's a betrothed, the woman you have engaged with. The judges have not granted, even though the person has actually got angry, suddenly and bravely provoked, killed the other person, either the woman or the boyfriend. But judges have not recognized that. He found his wife C in a compromising position with his best friend B. B got infuriated and killed B.
Exception 1, 300.
So they are kind of their wife, so then you can get angry. Of course, that's also not logically correct, but that is how the judges are making a distinction. And somewhere this monopoly over wives, these women who are related to you, the control has been granted to the men on the argument that the men are required to maintain these women, your unmarried sister, your daughter, your wife, your mother. So if these women go ori, then you are justified, not justified, but some can one can the judges say one can understand their anger, which for me is very problematic, but that's how things have been. X found her married brother in a compromising position with her best friend. She got infuriated. She mixed poison in his next meal that killed him. That killed, uh, yeah, her brother.
Ma'am, murder.
Murder, clause 4.
Murder, ma'am.
Why?
Something
If you need
very.
to, if you need to defend the X, what will be your argument?
She was provoked. That can be the only defense that can be taken in this case.
No, but how then you would justify that she was provoked and she was still can be defended? Because when you are provoked, grave and sudden provocation, your action should be immediate.
Ma'am, I'd say that the poison was the first thing that she saw near her, and during this infuriation, within a very short span of time, she mixed it in his next meal, which was, I mean, I would have to prove that the time between the next meal, and this provocation was very short.
Mhm. Yeah, so one we are here saying construction of a reasonable woman is the same. That men. So what we are now contending, what we are facing here is a scenario where the it has been long recognized, and this is the usual experience of life as well, that men lose temper when they found their women, quote unquote, their women, in compromising positions in these relationships. But how many times have you found women losing that temper and reacting in this manner? So whether she was justified to get so angry as to kill her brother. That's a tricky one because no, you have to bring in all your knowledge from that Catherine Donovan's article, the argument she is giving, that how then that whether will you be and also you didn't study Uchara. So
Ma'am, if
Catherine Donovan's article you have seen. So whether you can bring on any of the, because in that one you're saying slow burn, it is not slow burn, it was suddenly that she found it. But the whole question is how do you construct the basic focus of this scenario is how do you construct a reasonable woman, because it's a woman in this case, X is a woman in this case. So whether a woman is justified in losing, whether ordinary women, when they find their married brother in compromising positions, do they lose their temper to the extent that they can kill? So then that's the first challenge. The second challenge is that the action has come and that you were right. I think who spoke about, was it Ayush? Who was saying that you have to prove that it was very quick. So very quick also that no, she was getting angrier as she was preparing. She got infuriated, and as she was preparing meal, she got angrier, and so we do not know how the other people have killed. When we got infuriated and killed B, we do not know how he killed, whether he used a gun, whether he used hands, but we are imagining there that immediately he killed. In the fact it is not there. We are just assuming that no, B was killed right away. But here the fact are saying that she mixed poison in the next meal. So next meal pata nahi kab tha. So all these are aspects to emphasize upon to say that, so the formulation was correct when you said we'll have to prove that the meal one, she was actually in the middle of making the meal and that was to be given to him, and therefore that's what she did. But the fact that she did not use her own hands, she did not use a weapon, she used poison, indicates that there was a bit of um,
Time to think.
planning there. So you have to address that argument in your defense if you want to defend X. Okay, so that's what we were talking about. Let's look at this. Then section 304A be attracted.
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no intention to kill that person. There's no
But
such.
304A requires intention.
No, ma'am.
What does it require?
Ma'am, it requires
It's a
rash or
negligent act,
negligent
ma'am.
act.
So can we say that the surgeon was so grossly negligent that he should be, no, because there is two possibilities. One is the possibility under tort. The other is that there is a criminal liability. For criminal liability, 304A requires what?
Rash or negligent.
or
Ma'am, I
negligent
wouldn't
act.
say that this was a rash act.
It was a rash act.
Ma'am, how would we say that it was a rash act? He did not perform that act so when we discuss the difference between rash and negligent, the onus for proving rash acts was that they knew that this would be something that would be very risky, but still they did it under the pretense that it would not happen.
Ayush,
He failed to exercise reasonable and proper care.
304A, does it say rash and negligent, or rash
yes.
or
Oh,
negligent.
yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Negligent. Grossly negligent.
है ना, तो और है ना, you have to always pay attention to or है कि and है, so one of the two which is there, it is liability.
Yes, ma'am. It will be negligent.
Okay.
C04A.
This one. A and B were not having a good marriage, and A was asking B to agree for a mutual consent divorce. B was not agreeing. One day, A got angry when his wife did not give him food in time. He struck her with the grinding stone with which she was making garlic paste. She fell down senseless. He thought she had died and panicked. He lifted the body and laid on a railway track. She died because of the injuries suffered by being run over by the train. What will be his liability? Can he be held liable for murder?
Ma'am, I think this is the case of culpable homicide. There was a case like that when the husband thought that he has killed the wife, and
No,
later
no,
that.
Palani Gandhar, they did not
It's
say
murder.
culpable
That was
homicide.
gross hurt. Grievous hurt.
वहाँ तो ग्रीवियस हर्ट भी नहीं था, उसको तो माइनर इंजरी थी. That was just hurt and destruction of evidence. उसका तो उतना ही हुआ था. But after Palani Gandhar, there were a lot of cases we studied. Up to how many?
Now, the act that he did, hitting her with the grinding stone, that was his act to cause the death, but the death didn't happen actually. And when thinking her lying unconscious that she's dead, he took her to the railway track to portray her that she got killed by the train crash, by train running all over her. Then this was not an act with an intention to kill her. So I think he would be held liable for the first act only, in which
No, you've all forgotten our whole series of cases we discussed post Palani Gandhar. Palani Gandhar was the first one. But then we had all those cases where the judges have, in some cases, the judges have held them liable for murder. Sometimes they have said gross negligence. Different decisions were there. But what was the principle we learned from there was that one has to look also that first is what was the intention at the first stage. If you are saying there are two acts, one is the hitting with the grounding stone. The second one is laying her on the railway track. So in the first one, the cases where it was shown that there was an intention to, no, the initial intention was to cause death. Then the subsequent act was seen as action, which is to ensure that it really leads to its logical conclusion. In cases where there was no intention to cause any serious injury to the person concerned, the judges said that we will not, Palani Gandhar, we will not convict him for the, we will look at the subjective knowledge. In some cases, the judges said we will have to find out how closely connected the two acts are. So whether this background they were having a problem in the marriage before long, and they have been, he has been wanting mutual consent, B was not agreeing, and then in that particular day when his wife did not give him time, the food on time, he has hit her with a grinding stone. So now how big is the grinding stone? What is the kind of injury he can cause with her? And whether the two acts were so quickly and so closely connected. All those arguments have to be brought in for you to give a decision. You cannot just go back to Palani Gandhar alone. There is a whole series of other arguments and you have to take cognizance of those developments. And therefore, for the second act is certainly capable of causing injury because the injuries, the second act of laying her on the railway track was not only, was it only in the circumstance that when he was having difficulty with her, he has been wanting to get rid of her through divorce, she was not agreeing. So whether we can say that actually he used this But he's saying it is panic. But actually, what was happening in his mind was that, okay, this is the best way to now get rid of the wife. He had not want, it was not in agreeing to mutual consent. So the possibility of making your argument on the basis of the facts given before this incident happened. In Parani Gaundan, we do not know what was happening between the two of them before this incident, the incident when he hit her with a plowshare. But in this one, we know that there has been an ongoing difficulty happening. So the possibility of saying that he was actually using the second instance only to get rid of his wife is very much there. So therefore, you have to look at all the facts to make your argument. Do not go, and also we are aware that post Palani Gaundan, there have been a number of cases, and different cases have taken different decisions on reasoning as to what was the nature of the injury, what was the intention at the time of the first blow. At the time of the first blow, there was intention to cause grievous injury, there was intention to cause death. The person has acted in so much negligence, that is gross negligence, that you cannot say that the intention was not to kill anymore. So those cases, the judges have decided differently.
Ma'am?
Hmm.
Ma'am, in the exam, in case this question arises, should we also be mentioning these things, that these might be the scenarios, because there can be n number of scenarios and our judgment would depend on
no, but at least refer to the three cases. वो थे ना गौर गोविंदो, उसमें 3 cases हैं पलानी गाउंडन में.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So at least refer to those three scenario. Then refer to how many the cases we have given in your material. Examine then that whether any of those will be attracted in this case, or the reasoning given there.
Okay. Okay.
You should show that you are a master of your course material.
Understood, ma'am. So we'll consider the factors that are considered there, and then we'll write our answer on the basis of them. And also these conjectures will be based on those cases only. Understood.
And but if it is said that argue for acquittal, argue for conviction, then you have to tailor-made emphasize on the facts which are in your favor.
That would be the fun part, ma'am.
Yeah. Let's see how the question paper comes. So A was fired from his job and could not find any other employment. He took loan from the bank to start his own business, but failed in that venture too. He had a wife and 2 small children to look after, but felt himself unable to do so. Frustrated, he mixed poison in the food and gave it to his wife and children and ate some portion of it himself. The wife and children died, but he survived.
I think it is murder clause 3 because giving the amount of poison was enough to cause the death of his wife, his children, and in the facts it is mentioned that he ate himself very little, which he then he knew that it was sufficient to cause the death, and therefore he took that precaution. Therefore, it all falls under the proximity of the offense of murder.
Why would you say
Ma'am,
3?
fourthly, ma'am, 300.
Fourthly आएगा ना, third कैसे आएगा?
304, yes, ma'am.
Fourthly
304.
अटैक होगा. Inherently dangerous act की बात हो रही है ना, likely to cause death, and he does it without an excuse. So can we say that all his background therefore is an excuse or not? सारे clause लगाने पड़ेंगे ना. You have to examine each clause. So fourthly तो है, मगर fourthly के सारे requirement fulfill होते हैं.
No, I think he can take the excuse that that his children and wife would die of starvation. A life like that would be better than death would be better than having a life like that. So I think the excuse was sufficient in this case, that it is better to die healthy and than to die in poverty and all that, whereas children would starve. That would be a much dreadful condition to watch. So I
And
think
also this was no, and in this one, and what may be the other factors you can think about, that it is his decision alone. It is not that he made a pact with the wife. The children being minor, it did not concern the children, but he consulted the wife, and they all decided to go for a family suicide. So that may be one line of argument. The possibility that, when you said age some portion, it is not saying little portion, it says some portion. So whether he had the intention, whether from this we can say, oh, he wanted to kill the wife and children, but not himself, therefore he ate little. That's not something what we are talking about. We are talking about that because he was frustrated with his inability to provide for the family, therefore he decided to end the whole family and he tried to kill himself also. He would have, had he died, nothing would have happened. Now, unfortunately for him, he has survived. But whether then in these circumstances can he be liable for murder? Because in case of so therefore you're right on that one, that the whole argument will depend on whether you are able to prove that this background was sufficient, reasonable excuse which should exempt him from the liability of murder and should bring the case in the culpable homicide category. Or whether we can make further arguments that because he was also wanting to kill himself, which is a case of attempt to suicide as well. And in attempt to commit suicide, nowadays we say do not punish them, provide them support. So in even if it is culpable homicide, he is actually needing support and counseling rather than punishment. So that all those kind of, you can build up the knowledge together to give an excellent answer. Or you can go just by, you can also be limited to the category of saying 300 fourthly, but certainly fourthly, not any other clause which is attracted on the face of it. And then build up whether excuses made out in these cases, whether the background constitutes reasonable excuse for us to bring the case in culpable homicide, or it does not. So it doesn't matter whether you convict, whether you say he should be held liable for this or that. What is important is your argument, how you build up your argument to say there was an excuse or to say there was no excuse. These activities did not amount to excuse. He had choices. Who could have talked to other people. He could have found some other manner, because the only thing we know is that he has taken loan and he has failed in that venture. So then he could have taken some. So one can work on that. That how would you justify it is an excuse, or how would you say it is not an excuse? The focus of the question is on the excuse rather than anything else. So this is what I call as the micro question in this. The macro question is it culpable homicide or murder? But the micro question is, within that clause of fourthly as well, what is the most micro question is it a reasonable excuse, whether he has a reasonable excuse or not? That will, the way you build that up can determine whether you will say it will be liability or no liability for murder. Okay, this will pass because this is the offense we do not study anymore nowadays. So, okay, let's take another quiz. There are one on principles.
Ma'am, I think it is mistake of fact in this case.
Will it be the only answer that that's all that you need to say? Mistake of fact.
I wasn't able to hear you. Can you repeat it?
Will it be enough to say that it is mistake of fact?
I think so. Like it is said that liquor seller thought that the police constable was off duty, so he must be aware of the law that he should not give liquor to a police officer while he is on duty. So I think it is just a mistake of fact.
What is the
Ma'am,
section we're talking about?
I didn't got you.
Which section?
16 clause second. Section 16 clause second of Licensing Act 1872.
अरे नहीं, आईपीसी की बात हो रही है ना, लाइबिलिटी तो आईपीसी में आ रही है, वहां थोड़ी आ रही है. No, the question is about what? Is the question about, you're saying the question is about mistake of fact. Mistake of fact की डिफेंस कहाँ है, किस सेक्शन में?
I'm 76 to 79. Section 76 says act done by a person bound or by mistake of fact believing himself bound by law. Nothing is an offense which is done by a person who is or who by reason of a fact of mistake of fact or not by reason of mistake of fact in good faith believes himself to be bound by law to do it.
इन माने चारों में से
Ma'am,
कौन सा लगेगा इसमें?
ma'am, yeah, isn't that an offense under strict liability, ma'am? Because the purpose of the law will frustrate if everybody will give an excuse that it was a mistake of fact. It's not a mistake of fact, it's a mistake of law, ma'am.
No, look, when we talk about strict liability, we are talking about the mens rea part of it. Mens rea part of it is about not knowing the law. I did not have the intention to violate the law. And this one says, so that's a good argument to take, that because here the liquor seller will say, I did not know. I know the law that it is unlawful, but I did not know the fact. So if he says, I do not know the fact, and therefore I think what I was doing was lawful, because selling liquor is not prohibited. What is prohibited is to supply liquor on a police constable on duty. So he's not saying that I did not know that selling liquor to a constable on duty is prohibited. He says, I know this. But what I am doing is, look at 79. Nothing is an offense which is done by any person who is justified by law or who by reason of mistake of fact and not reason of mistake of law in good faith believes himself to be justified by law in doing it. So this is based on 79. The situation will have to be answered by reference to 79, whereby he is justified by law to supply liquor to persons who are not is a licensed liquor seller. And so but the prohibition is that he should not do it to a police constable on duty. So and it says, the point I wanted you to think about is in good faith. What is good faith? So these are the sections, numbers, and definitions which you should be using in giving the answer. To say he was a mistake of fact is a beginning starting point, but you have to now supply why it was a mistake of fact, because of which he should not be held liable. So mistake of fact, section 79. And the important point is that on the facts, he is not prohibited from supplying liquor to any other person. So when the constable, and also the police constable only when he is on duty. So the only thing will be that whether his belief is coming on good faith. His belief that the constable was off duty is coming on good faith. So what does good faith require? गुड फेथ की क्या डेफिनेशन है?
Nothing is said to be done or believed in good faith, which is done or believed without due care and attention.
And so if he has taken due care, so suppose the man is not wearing his uniform. Suppose he is wearing his uniform. So on the face of it, it will be that he is on duty. But it may be that he was going home and he knows that on ordinary day, this is the time this constable goes home after the duty and he drops in for a drink. So depending on whether he can justify that when he thought this constable was not on duty, it may be a case that the constable was wearing muftis, but he had come to investigate something. No, he was in muftis because he did not want to be identified. So therefore, he had good reason to believe. He believed in good faith. So the whole answer has to come by reference to section 79 read with 52. Okay, this is not part of your.
Ma'am,
Okay,
just out of curiosity, what would be the answer to that?
which one?
Ma'am, bigamy one. This one only.
हाँ नहीं नहीं मुझे नहीं वो तो बाइगमी का सेक्शन में हमारा वो है whether it is a case of during the period of appeal against judgment he married X, whether it's a case of strict liability.
No, ma'am.
Strict liability concerns only 3 or 4 offenses like kidnapping, sedition, waging war against the state, and all that. So it doesn't fall under the proximity.
ना ना 497 है कौन सा सेक्शन है बेबी का? It is actually a little harder because आपने offense पढ़ा नहीं है. But you can very quickly look at the offense for.
And like the fact says that the divorce has been done. Now an appeal has been filed against the judgment. So when the divorce is done, then the person is free to marry anyone. I don't think there's any liability upon
So that's where ignorance of law comes, na?
Ma'am, this would come in exception for 494.
ये तो void है. Void थोड़ी है, उन्होंने तो divorce किया है ना.
हाँ, divorce.
तो void में apply होगा. So the words is whoever having a husband or wife living marries. In any case in which the marriage is void by reason shall be punished. In this case, the divorce has happened, but the law says that till the time the divorce becomes final, and so there is the appeal has still not, so there are 30 days to file appeal. So within those 30 days, if he marries again, his divorce is still not final. So he has married not knowing this law. So this is coming on ignorance of law. So whether in this case, should A be prosecuted by reference to strict liability is the question. The hard question. Don't worry about this one. This is very, very harsh for you. When we have, I don't know when I framed this, what was I thinking of the first year? But this is a hard question because one, you have not heard you have not read the section of bigamy, and secondly, that the question should have been: can he be prosecuted for not knowing the law that marrying within this will be, his divorce is still not final. So this is an ignorance of law question. So, and the section does not say anything about whether he intentionally marries knowing that he is not still free to marry. So bad question for you. Pass it on. ये तो आपके केस में से ही आया है. इस सब्जेक्ट पे है क्वेश्चन.
फैमिली लो
mens rea पे है सवाल strict liability का.
and there's strict liability in both torts and crimes.
Hmm?
And there is
No,
strict
the whole
liability.
question is because apparently on the face of it, he was not wanting to violate the law. He was aware of the law, but he was expecting the license to come. So in this case, what is the principle which has to be applied in determining? Remember your Mayor Hans George, the minority majority opinion. Both of them have laid the same principle that one has to look at the object of the legislation. When the section is silent, it neither excludes mens rea nor does it specifically provides for it. In such cases, we need to look at the object of the legislation and whether requiring that mens rea should be proved, will that frustrate the purpose of the legislation? It will do so, then we will say he has to be strictly held liable because he has violated the law, even though he did not intend to violate the law. If our conclusion is that by introducing mens rea in this circumstance, nothing is going to better because the minority judgment did say that when you punish people who did not intend to commit the offense and you impose liability, nothing is, no purpose is served because he was not wanting to commit the offense. So that was one argument by the minority in that Mayor Hans George. And the majority just that no, we cannot get into the individual person's liability. We have to do the voluntarily word are not there. So whether no, not voluntarily. So the majority was focusing on the question of that strict liability, the principle given, and this is what both minority and majority have agreed upon. The principle is the same. Both the sides are agreeing that you have to focus on what is the purpose. So in this case, when licensing has been provided for under Essential Commodities Act, whether we will frustrate the purpose of this legislation by saying you can punish him only if was intending to violate the law of licensing. It will frustrate, we will say he has to be liable. With strict liability, we will not look at his intention. That is what the line of reasoning we are asking you to provide for in this case. More focused question. That's how most of your questions are going to be. They're not going to be like the ones we had earlier. Tell you whether this offense is committed or not. So focus only on that offense.
What section would he be punished under?
Which one?
In this case, license was smoking weed for last few years.
That's on the principle, no? That's not on the section. That's on the principle of criminal liability. Whereas George has not been decided by, when you go back to this one, so the section is saying you have been prohibited to supply it. The section is silent. Who will be punished who has intentionally supplied it to the constable on duty. So the word, there is nothing in this section which indicates whether intention of the person or knowledge of the person is of any relevance if he violates the law.
And will strict liability will be applicable in this case?
No, in this case, the question is much more on the question of mistake of fact rather than strict liability. Because here it is not a case, so we were talking about the license. This one is on strict liability. Because in this one, he knew the law. In the first one also he knew the law. In this one, he is also aware that my license has still not come. So he's not under any mistake of fact. He knows my license has not come. Law requires me to hoard this amount only when I have a license. But because he's been getting it for so many years, he assumed it will come in time, in due course. So in this case, he was under no mistake of fact. He was not under mistake of law. But he had also a genuine belief. So whether the genuine belief that license will come, but he knows that today it is illegal, should he be held liable? The fact that he's applied for license shows his genuineness, that he's wanting to do genuine business. But the fact is that today he does not have the license, he has goods beyond the quantity permissible. Should he be held liable without? Because we said your act is not punishable. What is the principle of mens rea? Mens rea वाला principle है ना? So उस principle पे सवाल, हाँ, उस वाले principle पे सवाल है. Your act is not punishable unless your intention was so. So his intention was not to violate the law, but he done an act which constitutes the law. The law is silent on the mens rea part of it. So should he be held liable despite having no intention to commit the unlawful act? Or he is doing an unlawful act.
I think the assumption he made that based on the previous results that he always used to get the license, that he will again get the license, is a very incorrect inference that he drew from it. Like a child who gets like 95 in a subject every year, and he assumes that, yeah, I will get it the other year too. It is something as foolish as that. And he knew that the act was illegal and instead do it.
Nirupam, listen. What is the principle to answer this question that if the legislation is silent on mens rea, should it be read into the section or should it not be read into the section? That's what the question is about.
I don't think his intention counts at all. He's doing an illegal act, knowing the consequence of the illegal act, assuming something that something favorable from his side because he has been getting positive results.
Listen. When you are saying intention is irrelevant in this case, because this section does not require so, and therefore we must not look at the question of intention. So what are the circumstances? What is the test laid down by the judges to say in which cases we will not ask for intention?
And we'll see the purpose of the legislation, ma'am.
That's the route you have to argue. You may reach the same conclusion. It's a different thing. But you have to follow the right reasoning. The right reasoning is to ask whether looking at his intention and therefore determining liability by reference to his intention, will it promote the purpose of the law or will it frustrate the purpose of the law? So if Anupam is saying his intention is of no consequence, why is it of no consequence? Because it will frustrate the purpose of the law. If we start looking at it, then people will say, I had no intention, and they will keep on violating the law. And the whole purpose of ensuring essential commodities all will be frustrated. So that is the correct line of reasoning. Because ordinary principle of common law is that liability, criminal liability can be imposed only when there is a guilty intention. But the judges said the requirement of guilty intention can be dispensed with in those cases where the legal provision is silent on that requirement, and introducing that requirement will frustrate the purpose of the legislation. To argue on those lines, it's a good answer. You make other submissions. These are just there, then these are what you call as coffee table arguments. You have to get your legal arguments. So you have to use the language which has been provided to us by the judges in this case. Yeah, so tell me this one.
Ma'am, there was no common intention, I feel. I would argue that the kind of injuries that all the three of them have caused, if, for example, they would have a common intention, then one of them would have given the hard injury from the spear and others would have helped them. But all these three injuries are kind of different injuries. So I would take that line of reasoning to prove that there was no common intention, but that would be culpable homicide.
What is the common intention here? Is there any common intention?
Ma'am, the common intention was to stop the person from working.
The question is not whether they have the common intention to cause the death or not.
The question
whether,
is,
but whether they were, so when Z interfered, A hit E on the legs, B injured ear by spear. Z stabbed spear in his left jaw and pulled it out. At this point, E died. So it is the death has occurred as the cumulative action of these three. So whether these three were giving injuries intentionally to this person. Because thirdly, 300, what is required is that they should be giving the injuries intentionally. So whether they had the common intention, when we say common intention, then the consequence will be to the cause of death will be the liability which will come if they were giving the injuries with the common intention of giving injuries. So there was the focus of the question is more that the common intention can be formed at the time of the injury itself, at the time of the incident, because they're not made up. It's on the moment it has happened. So whether common intention can be framed on the moment or not. And then if the cumulative consequence of the injuries given by all of them, if it is done with the common intention of causing injury, then the liability will be of death for each one of them.
ma'am, so all three of them would be held liable for culpable homicide, but the death, murder. But I feel the common intention to cause the death was not existent according to the injuries that they've put in.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
the fact that
you are right on that one. The question is not framed very nicely. Suppose the question was, can X, A, and B be said have the common intention, and can they be held liable for murder of E?
Yes, ma'am. Then our answer could go to the common intention being formed during the moment.
Yeah, तो सवाल बहुत अच्छे से फ्रेम नहीं किया मैंने. It's good that you pointed that out.
the and he won't be held liable. This comes under the exceptions. I don't remember the exact section for intoxication, but it is done without his willingness, without his information, and he acted under the influence of intoxication.
85, ma'am. Section 85.
85, all ingredients satisfied?
86, ma'am, not 85, 86.
6.
No. Without the will.
So this is against will to hai na? He did not know.
Ma'am, here the distinction between will and consent that we had read. Can it be said that this was against his will? Because will involves some active opposition to it.
I think willingness also contributes.
नहीं आयुष, पूरा सेक्शन बड़ा सा हेडिंग में क्यों जा रहे हो? नीचे क्या लिखा है? Which intoxicated him was administered to him without his knowledge or against his will. इसे सेक्शन भी पढ़ना चाहिए ना, हेडिंग पे नहीं
और
जाना.
86 में it can come for knowledge.
85 पहले 85 में देखो ना. 86 में भी सेम है.
85 में भी और है,
against his will.
knowledge or against his will.
हाँ, without his knowledge or against his will, तो वो तो voluntary and involuntary की बात हो रही है ना. तो both categories, when they did not know, तो वो register थोड़ी करेगा, but it is still he does not know. So the question basically,
Willingness requires the consent of.
willingness का तो सवाल ही नहीं है इसमें. This question is not on willingness. This question is on whether the fact that he was intoxicated without his knowledge, whether he can be liable for the offences which he has committed.
Still, I think it will fall under the attract the willingness section, because willingness requires the consent of the person. The consent was not given, so he was.
अरे अनुपम आप फिर कंफ्यूज हो रहे हो वहाँ पे. When we make a distinction between, when we are using the two words consent and will, in case of will, the judges are looking for physical resistance. In case of consent, they are saying passive submission is also not consent. So here there is no physical resistance. Therefore, the question of will is not attracted in this scenario. The question of will comes in when there is a physical resistance by the person who is being forced to do something. So therefore, and also in any case, our case is straight away falling under the clause without his knowledge. So why would we go on to the second question? It's not even attracted in this case.
It'll directly come under knowledge.
It will come under the first one itself. By the time of doing it, by reason of judgment, incapable of knowing the nature of the act, or that he is doing something which is contrary to law. So whether, what is the question then in this one? It will be more based on the question of whether his intoxication was such that he did not know the nature of the act. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना? He knew he was causing injury. उसको नहीं मिलेगा, even though he did not know it. So they
Ma'am, what does the term becoming intoxicated connote? Wouldn't it mean becoming completely intoxicated?
Completely खुद ही इस्तेमाल किया ना?
हाँ, completely तो मैंने करा.
आपने इंट्रोड्यूस किया तो नहीं है ना? हमारा तो पूरा ना, हमारी पूरी रोजी रोटी एज अ लॉयर वर्ड्स पे ही चलती है.
Yes, ma'am.
उससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है लॉयरिंग में, और कुछ भी नहीं है, सिर्फ वर्ड्स का प्ले है.
And plus, we can also say that since he got into a heated argument, for getting into an argument, you need to have some kind of mental functioning.
बिल्कुल.
Doesn't the person behave very erratically when he is under the influence of intoxication? Does it require that he willfully wanted to hit that person and the intoxication just helped him to go and do that activity?
और दोनों चीजें रिक्वायरमेंट है. लॉ की बात हो रही है, हमारी कॉमन सेंस की बात हो रही है. क्या वो उसने शराब पी ली तो उसने मिसबिहेव कर दिया किसी लड़की के साथ में, उस इंटॉक्सिकेशन में माँ के साथ तो मिसबिहेव नहीं करता. He will not be, his lust will not arise looking at his sister when he is intoxicated. वो सेंस तो रहती है ना. गलत सही की सेंस कभी भी रहती है. जब तक गलत सही की सेंस है तब तक आप डिफेंस नहीं ले सकते.
I don't think this is a question of lust. I think a person becomes violent in every case in which he is influenced with intoxication.
वो रोमांटिक भी हो जाते हैं, सिर्फ वायलेंट थोड़ी होता है, रोमांटिक भी हो जाते हैं. लिकर का तो बहुत सारे पर्पस है ना. So let's not go there where it is not required. So I think I'll skip on this one. जबकि सिंपल है. बताओ इसमें क्या होगा?
Ma'am, 86 and 98. Unsoundness of, sorry, not 86, 84. 84 and 98.
लाइबिलिटी किसकी है?
मैम एक्चुअली तो दोनों की नहीं है
दोनों की नहीं है, क्यों?
मैम,
अमर
बिकॉज
का क्या?
अमर
हाँ,
अमर
तो अमर
वाज
की डिफेंस है।
अनसाउंडनेस ऑफ माइंड, और
हम्म। की डिफेंस।
बसंत
B का प्राइवेट डिफेंस
प्राइवेट डिफेंस मैम,
बसंत
गुड गुड,
अगेंस्ट
ग्रेट,
एन पर्सन ऑफ अनसाउंड माइंड.
परफेक्ट परफेक्ट.
No ma'am, mere preparation.
Still at the state of preparation. Anyone who has a difference of opinion? Will your answer be different if A was caught after he had written the first word on the document?
Ma'am,
No,
we
ma'am.
couldn't see the slide that is still on Amar, a mentally ill person.
No, ma'am.
I think my net
Oh,
is
still
slow.
at the state of preparation? What is the act required for forging a document? I would say that at that stage he has started the attempt. If suppose after writing that one sentence he stops for some reason and then he never gets back to it and this paper is found after a year, then we can argue that no, even though he started, but he actually gave up. The facts are indicating that it is a case of penitentia, that he changed his mind after that.
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Miscarriage it is not, because he was not she was not pregnant, and he was
अरे illustration 1 क्या है हमारी attempt में? He put his hand into the box, the money wasn't there.
Yes.
Illustration क्या कहती है हमारी 511?
Ma'am, he would be liable, ma'am.
हाँ, because इसमें वो नहीं बनाने उसका वाला केस नहीं है, असगरी प्रदानिया. There is nothing saying that medicine wasn't capable of procuring the abortion. ये नहीं है इसमें that he was not on the job. He was on the job, but his purse was empty.
Ma'am, Asghar Ali, ma'am, this argument can be raised that he was not on the job because the way he was at the means was not enough.
उन्होंने तो वही कहा ना उसमें.
Okay.
उसमें वही कहा.
no, ma'am.
And why do you say no?
Preparation में ही defect था. Can we say that?
We look at the third one, preparing for exam. Okay, I have not seen this slide in a while, so let's see what all I had here. It was done many years ago. This I've said earlier also. You must pay attention, apply your mind as to what is the macro question and then what is the micro question. And identify which are the legal provisions. And now that you have open book exam, certainly open those pages and look up quickly have your access to your case material and also find out which cases have focused on any of the clauses of the legal provision that you have. So this is a mental exercise. You are getting all the information collected in your head. Even if you don't have the books, but it should be in your, because at our time and from pre-COVID, everybody had to have it all in their head. But now you have the option of having the material around you for a last minute check if necessary. A good answer should have an opening or an introduction. Then there should be substantive portion which tells us what are the legal provisions, what are the explanations of the important phrases and relevant cases, and then what is your final decision in that one. Many a time you find the student just start with a section so and so, but why they're referring to the section, there should be the opening sentence will be that this situation demands examination of section so and so. This section has the following in brackets. So if you saw that, then is an opening introduction. So there should be connection of the paras from one to the other. You can say one case, Palani Gaunda, they said this. In Punaya, they said that. In Birsa Singh, they said that. But there is no connectivity among the cases. Why from Birsa Singh to, for example, Punaya, Birsa Singh, or the similar point. So why do you need to give both the cases? Why are you referring to? How are you going from one case to the other? So if you suppose say in Birsa Singh, they laid down these tests, and this was explained further. The distinction between culpable homicide and murder was explained further in Punaya. And the Punaya judgment says that this is the genus, this is the species. So then you're connecting the discussion of the two cases. So try to bring about connectivity from the previous. These are just simple writing directions. It's nothing to do with your answer. Anything you write an article, there should be coherence. So therefore, the connection of the one para to the other, it should be something. It should contain it should be precise. What some students do, they will give us the full answer, full information on that particular aspect, whether we need it for the question or not. So they would. So the feeling has been sometime among the students that if it is a bulky answer book, now we don't have bulk, we have the pages in the e-format. Long answers will get you more marks is a myth. It's not true in all circumstances, because we want to manage that. I've seen answer books with 1.5 page written, and they've got excellent 75% marks also. It's all a question of your articulation and exactly indicating that you have understood what is the thrust of the question. You can communicate that in your answer, giving it precisely. That gets you actually more marks than giving everything under the sun on the subject that you know. When and under what circumstances can death lawfully cast as a private defense? Explain with the provisions of law and judicial decision. Suppose this is your question. Then opening can say the introduction and tendency of private defense is inobservable, not only in human beings, but also in non-humans. And this is I have taken from an answer which has come. The concept of private defense is not you, but its fragmentation is done by the IPC. IPC justified action is self-help to defend one's person.
Ma'am, not able to see the slide, ma'am.
You're not able to see the slides? You've not seen any of them? I think I'm not yet shared. Now you can see.
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Let's start again.
स्ट्रक्चर वाला पार्ट देख लिया था मैम.
बीच में बंद हो गया.
फर्स्ट 2 स्लाइड्स देख ली थी मैम, उसके बाद बंद हो गया था.
I think हाँ ये मैंने स्टॉप शेयरिंग वाला ना, I was trying to move it, so then okay. So this is one opening. The second opening. But both the cases, both the scenario are opening there. Then this person made a chart there, right of private defense of body and property. Then he gave us the circumstance. Such an assault, basis of the clause was taken in the case of such and such case, and then he's making a connections. You reading it?
Ma'am, it's blurry. Nothing is visible.
Hmm?
Ma'am, it's blurry. It's not visible.
It's blurry. I don't know why it is blurry.
No, ma'am, it's visible.
Ma'am, it's clear here. I think there's some internet
clear,
issue with
ma'am.
Nirupa.
I think it's perhaps some you call that at the speed issue, perhaps at Nirupam's end. Then he has gone on every single clause and give us some explanations there. And go to the next one.
Was this an answer for during the OB exams or before that?
No, before that. Before that.
Very impressive, ma'am.
Yeah. But this fellow had given us answers which we were not even expecting. And there was one question particularly where all of us had brainstormed before the evaluation began. And we came up with 6-7 points which can be discussed. And this fellow had discussed all those 6-7 points all by himself. Sometimes we do get very, very good answers. at both the answers, which one do you think is a better answer?
Ma'am, I think the second one would be a better answer, but I think there could have been more cases that could have been discussed.
And but I certainly feel that in the second one, so much briefer than what the first one has gone, and has covered everything, almost everything, which you're right on that one. That's maybe some more cases could have been given. But in this presentation, both of them are correct answers. But when you start looking at coherence and precision as a principle, then you have limited time. So student who attempts the first kind of an answer will later on might be struggling with time. So you have to also know you have to balance out both the things. That you have to have limited time as well. You have to give the information in a coherent manner, precise manner within the time it is possible. So personally speaking, I like the second answer much better than the first answer.
In the both of the B and C part.
What?
In A and B, A will not be liable, and in C part, A will be liable.
Everybody agrees? Ready?
And can you share these slides at later point in the classroom, so if I'm not getting anything
I'll do that. I'll put it on the dashboard.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
So that kind of concludes our session. I'll share this slide on the dashboard and this PPT on the dashboard. You have to get a sense of, because I think this was very quick in our class time. I'm sure that you answered very many questions very rightly. It was very short time for you to think about it. So hope it will be a good exam for you, good preparation time. You will do really good exam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, we don't know about the preparation time part, but we'll try our best.
No, you don't have to try your best. You have to do your best.
Yes, ma'am, we'll do our best.
Now, many times we ask the students, attempt any 5 answers, questions. We say, when we told about, we have been having this fun discussion among ourselves, that do we ask our students to attempt to answer or to answer? So they attempt, they should be given full mark because they've attempted. They succeeded or not is not the question. So now we're becoming more careful, and most of the time we avoid the question attempt and answer. Attempt the question. No, answer the question. So similarly, when you say I will try my best, you don't have to try, you have to do your best. Do your best and don't worry about the consequence. They will all be good. When you work hard, it shows. You succeed. And that's only not for exam, it's in life. Work hard sincerely, life will reap you the benefits.
Ma'am, also, one more thing, I'd like to thank you very much for allowing the students who were not even in your class to attend your classes, and the students of this section who very welcomely allowed us to attend those classes, who were not even in the class. So, ma'am, I'd like to thank you and the students as well for that, on behalf of everyone who's not in the class.
Thank you for joining up, and you have been an asset, Ayush. You are the only one, I think, who has actually studied the whole case material and participated. Other students, some of them have, many of them have studied many times, but I would not say they have studied all the time. But I'm very happy Ayush joined us. And all those, Mohammed Shak, there are some names I have been using very often because there was a lot of participation. And unfortunately, I do not know the names which do not appear on my screen. All the names are not appearing. Even now, there are 47 students in the class. I'm seeing barely 15 students on my screen. So this has been one of those exceptional semesters when I don't know even the names of all my students in this class. This period will pass as all difficult times pass, and we'll all be able to meet someday. So all the best till then, and keep safe.
I actually wrote a poem for you. Shall I?
Okay.
Such emotions fill the moment I never thought I would experience. You suddenly became so special to me for the worlds that I care. I was entranced by the ferocity and valor to the cases you approached, like the hurricane taking down everything in the place out of context. The wayward souls have yet to see you carving new legacies. The end has come, the end is near. I can feel it and I can hear. I'll be abandoned and orphaned once more from the obscure affection of yours. But yet, I'll cherish this time and try to make it rhyme. My heart aches with the blasphemous information, and I'm shaking with trepidation. The wise men said, ignorance is bliss, for once I agree to this. When you entered in my life, you made this pitch dark cave glow. We'd have our share of passes, and suddenly I was versed at law. I used to think the criminal should be slapped with a chair made of iron and embroidered with nails, but you taught me to be patient to classify a crime. For even 100 of the maniacs get a pass, the good must not end in jail. I'm thankful for the provisions that you taught, and I would take the examples to my grave, for this is where the words will fraught and my queasy eyes would zade. I can see the bright light which surprisingly made my world bright is fainting and going away. But turn around for one last time is what I have to say. I want to hear your sessions for the rest of my life and argue with you on every little thing I strive. I want to again see you angry, and I again want to see you smile, even when it is apart from hundred of miles. I want to raise the stupid allegations again and make your brains fry. And when we have walked so long together, I don't want you to see my pouring tears while I cry. For the tiny heart can hold so much pain. I made a decision long ago to not cry at the spilt milk, but somehow some souls touch us close enough to get surmised in the ilk. Tell me, how am I to survive this apocathy when my heart is fretting with every second lost? I possibly can't do anything than to propose a toast to the fire which lit the way, to the moon at whom I howled, to the sun I wanted to touch, to one of the most formidable person I have known as such. I curse my superiors for telling me wrong stories about the angels with wings and halo, laden with youth, jewelries, and kindness. But I would object, my lady, for the fairy I see in front of me is a picturesque of valor and wits, sternness and wise wrinkles. For no offense, my lady, you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, and for whom my heart tinkles. You taught us so much, you taught us a lot, and sadly, every good thing comes to a stop. Your affection was a different one, not one that I had ever heard in a tale, but it is what I cherished, somebody who gave me that sugar coating veil. Words can't suffice how much we adore, but everything is vanishing. I can premonite the tremor. So here's my list. I'll share a few of the brightest things I see in you. Like a wolf howling at the moon, my eyes gave a daring stare at the stars. Would you look up once more and hear my cry one last time? For your world with all its light and hope couldn't prepare me for this sorrow, this saying goodbye. No words can express the sorrow that I feel because you are leaving. Time has flown, and it seems that maybe we didn't appreciate all the time we had to share with one another. I know we must look upon the upcoming change as new and exciting adventure, although you'll always be with me in thoughts and prayers. I'll miss you each and every day. You were more than my teacher, you were a friend, someone whom I thought would be there till the end. Just know that you can never be replaced, and I'm glad you won the race. I guess that our time together, seeing your sweet face smiling, has come to an end, and I should give my wobbly heart a rest. For in the end, I have not much to offer than my prayers for the chancellorship. All the best, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nirupam. It was beautiful. And please do not think that I'm gone. I'm here. I'm accessible. I'm just an email away. Anytime you want to reach out to me, send me an email, and I'll respond as soon as I can. So I think, we all have to learn to think about the good times a person has brought to our lives and not the period when this person will be absent. This is something as we grow older, one has to learn to focus on. So don't focus on your tears, focus on the opening of mind if it has happened in this class. And I think that's my job, and tributes like this is our earning in our life. Thank you very much. I'm really, really touched by your sentiments. And I believe the clapping at the end shows that everyone has appreciated your expression. And I think you were speaking for some of the others as well. And can I have one request that everybody, can you all just come online with your videos on, so we can have one photo of this class with the people showing their faces, if it is possible for you to come on the video?
Sure, ma'am.
I want to see the students I've been talking to for a whole semester. Oh, that's Nirupa.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Who is, who said Tushar? Yes, Tushar.
No, ma'am, somebody else said.
So who was wanting to say something?
Ma'am, Rishabh, yeah.
Yes, Rishabh. Your video is still not on, you can't come online.
कविता सुनाई, तो मैं एक शेर सुनाना चाहूंगा.
अच्छा रुको, पहले तस्वीर खींचेंगे, फिर शेर शायरी तब चलेगी. Everybody who can come online, please come online, and I'll take a screenshot. Okay, great. Only Shivani, Nishant. Okay, some people are going and coming. Let me just do that. I got this one. Also, good to see all of you. Oh, it's been a long time I've met anyone. Pratik, why are you not smiling? शिवांगिनी, रांशु का बहुत अच्छा स्माइलिंग फोटो लगा है. Sumaira, lovely to see all of you.
Ma'am, we miss you so much.
No, I'm here. We can meet as and when we want. Send me a request on the dashboard and we'll call a meeting. That's not an issue at all. Thank you, my babies.
Thank you, ma'am.
It is
Thank you
first
so
year and
much.
the last batch.
Thank you so much,
Last
ma'am.
batch I have taught.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
तो
so
शेर
much.
किसने पढ़ना था? ऋषभ ने.
Okay, ma'am. So
Rishabh,
share is not dedicated to you.
So no, I was thinking the same thing about Nirupam. Nirupam read such a big poem, but without putting his video on. So I am being recorded as a video, and you are not. The one who's speaking should certainly have your video on. So Rishabh will have to come on video when he presents. So the system records the one who's speaking.
Fine, ma'am, fine. But this ये शेयर आपके लिए नहीं है, ये हमारे जैसे लोगों के लिए है. Okay, ma'am. I just wanted to make this moment light, so fine. बेदर्दी मेरे बालम की हर बात निराली है. बेदर्दी मेरे बालम की हर बात निराली है. बातें हैं मोहब्बत की, दिल प्यार से खाली है. That's it, ma'am.
Yeah. बहुत गहरा शेर है.
Yes.
दर्द बहुत है मैम भाई.
खाली है. हाँ जी.
अगर ऋषभ के दर्द बहुत है मैम.
अब प्यार से खाली हो गया तो फिर दर्द तो होगा ही होगा.
Yes, ma'am, I am suffering from COVID. I am in isolation since a week, so almost on recovery phase. So I was just going through Shairi and all these days because I'm free and parents ask me don't study also too much, so all that.
अच्छी बात है ना. बस लाइट कोविड होने पे तो लाइट करना दिमाग को बहुत जरूरी है, दिमाग को, शरीर को. So it's good.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Shall we say bye bye for today?
We don't want to say bye bye, but we have to say.
Yeah. We'll meet again. And in South they say,
Definitely, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
अभी हम जाके आते हैं, तो अभी हम लोग जाके आएंगे.
Yes,
तो
ma'am.
stop recording. हाँ.
Sure, ma'am.
जल्दी मिलते हैं.
Thank you so much, ma'am.